Hey there, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you're watching this from. And this is going to be a small talk on things I wish I would have told myself. So sometimes I'd like to think that, or more often than not, I like to think that in the heat of the moment and in the heat of such conflicting and such heartbreaking situations where we deal with failure, where we deal with regret, where we deal with heartbreak and so on, and pain. In those moments, I feel like most of the time, or if not all of the time, we feel like we don't know what to do, or we don't know how to get out of it, or we don't know what what the solution is, or how we're gonna overcome this, and eventually grow from it. We feel like we're stuck. We feel like we're in a cage that we may have or may have not put ourselves in, and we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to break free, and sometimes it can go deeper than that, where we dig ourselves a hole that we can't simply climb out of. And I like to think that in the heat of this moment, despite the cloud of confusion, despite the cloud of doubts and fears and insecurities telling us that we're never going to make it, that we're not going to, get out of it or overcome it, and those things or those voices that hold us back, I like to think that underneath all of that, we do have hope, we do have faith, and we do know what we gotta do to get out of it. We do know that we'll overcome it. We do know that we'll eventually beat it, whatever we're fighting against. And we do know we'll make it happen in terms of the dreams that we want to come true, or the plans that we have in store for ourselves, and the plans or the calling that God has thrust upon our lives. Because ever have that ever had that situation where when you're talking to a friend or to somebody you know, or somebody close, maybe a family member, a loved one, significant other, or so on, when they're in that tough situation, or when you're in that when you're in that moment when they're going through something tough and something really rough, and you don't really know, how they're feeling, and they're feeling this insane sensation of dread and heartbreak and so on. For some reason, despite you not being in their shoes, despite you not knowing not knowing the pain that they feel physically or emotionally yourself, I can only contemplate or conjure up a scenario where you're in that situation. You you ever get that feeling that you always know exactly what to say, or you always know exactly what to do to make them feel better, and what to give what to do to give them hope in this, despite that dreadful situation. Well, I like to think that it's because you knew the answer all along. And that's the same thing with positions or struggles, or hardships that you encounter yourself. Is that, I've known this for a while now, and people have told me this a billion of times, more so my sister. So props to you for, you know, making me realize every now and then when I act like a clueless fool, is that we do know how to get out of it. We do know how to overcome it. We do have hope, and we do truly believe that despite the inner voices, and despite that afterthought in the back of our heads saying that we'll fail, we're not gonna make it, there's no hope in trying, and all of that, that eventually there is hope. Eventually it is worth trying. Eventually it is something that we can overcome, because at the end of the day, you just know it deep down. Sometimes, you know, I feel like me myself, I can't really get over my head, get over my own head, get over my own thoughts and emotions, and this anxiety of this fear of not really making it in life. But deep down, deep down, despite all of these thoughts, all of these fears, I'm still kicking, I'm still going, I'm still breathing, I'm still this one. I mean, if at the end of the day, it's like kind of like, well, it's not what a friend said, but it's uh, it's what I took out of it. It's like I came to him with all these questions, and we were talking on the metro on the way home. Uh, uh, he's like, I like showered him or like dumped all of this, a truckload of questions about life, about what's wrong and what's right and what's meaningful and what's not, what's the point of life and all of that. And then I thought myself as a hopeless wreck, making an embarrassment of myself in front of a bunch of strangers in the metro who probably thought I was insane for, being even saying all of this stuff, but or mentally deranged in head or whatever. But then he said he told me that he didn't really know all of the answers, but the fact that I was questioning it, the fact that I was still, thinking about it, the fact that I was still contemplating about these things and what's wrong is what's right, what's meaningful, what's not, is that I haven't given up, or I refuse to give up rather, because he mentioned that I'm still thinking about this stuff. I'm still, contemplating. I'm still meditating on it. I'm still praying about it. I'm still seeking for answers about it. And the thing is, what I took from it now, and looking back on it now as well, is that I haven't given up hope in a sense because most of the time I feel like I myself, I can't speak once again for other people, so I'm just gonna refer to myself. Maybe you guys can resonate with this, but most of the time I feel like when I'm at a dead end road or when I'm hitting my head against a wall, brick wall that I can't really get past by, that I put myself in, or that I put that wall up for myself to, crash into and hit my head over again and again and again. I feel like uh, I feel like in a way I know how to break through it. I know how to, go around it or shatter it completely and move forward, but I just can't get over my head. And I feel like sometimes when you can't get over your head, you feel helpless, you feel at dead end, you feel like nothing is working out, you feel like it's better if you just disappear completely and all of that. But the truth is, uh, the truth is, despite all the questions in our head, despite all these doubts and uh, and these confusion and these fears and insecurities that conjure up automatically or just out of the blue, we all know what to do in those situations. We all know how to get out of it. We all know what's the better option. We all know what to do. We all know what to say in certain situations. We all know what to feel, how to empathize, how to do everything. We have all the answers, but we act like we know nothing, or we feel like we know nothing. It's kind of like I'd like to like relate it to prayer because I know I'm not much. I know I'm not the one to talk about prayer because I rarely do it. Try to do it, but still failing from time to time. But yeah, it's it's like ever thought or ever pictured a scenario where you prayed to God for something or you prayed to God to give you the answer to something when you yourself ended up figuring it out anyways. It's like it's like let's say it's like a catalyst to get you kicking and to get you actually trying to do the answer that's been in the back of your head for all of this time. It's like when you pray, you ask God to help you solve the situation, and all of a sudden you act on that solution that you've been having at the back of your head, but you've been just shunning it out because you're so overwhelmed by all the problems. And that specific moment where you're in absolute silence, just closing your eyes, talking to God, praying wholeheartedly and with your whole heart, body, mind, soul, you start to clear out all of those thoughts, silence out all of those inner voices in your head, and you get to think clearly. And you come up, amidst the cloud of confusion, you come up with a solution, or you come across the thing that you were looking for. And I feel like, that's something that's given to all human beings. Is like we know what to do, we know what to say, we know how to feel, we know what to think, we know how to get out of it all, we know how to solve everything. We just need a sense of clarity, a sense of peace, because if your head's so jumbled up, if your head's so clouded, and so so cluttered with all of this mess that you've conjured up yourself, or were conjured up by other scenarios, or your surroundings itself, or the people, or the opinions that you've gathered throughout the way, or the advices and so on. You're gonna have a lot of different opinions. You're gonna have a lot of different perspectives that don't really align with what you're going through, but have a sense of advice to it, and you try to consider it and try to implement it all. When at the end of the day, you just needed assurance. You weren't doubtful. You weren't clueless in a sense. You knew the answer. You just needed somebody to tell you that yes, that is the right thing to do. And that's what I think, like prayer, not just prayer, but meditation, and just sitting in silence, or going for a walk with no music and nothing to give you that escapism. It's a time for you to reflect, truly reflect on certain situations, certain scenarios that you put yourself in, or once again that life put you in, that you're having a hard time, and it gives you an overall sense of peace. And in that peace, I feel like you can almost, when you're at that state of mind where nothing is influencing anything, and it's only you talking about, thinking about what you're going through and how you're gonna get out of it. I feel like, that's when you will come up with not the right solution in other people's eyes, but it's the right solution for you, in that situation and in that point in time. And I feel like, in the words of a friend of mine as well, uh, he said that he said that in one of our conversations, I think just a couple of days ago, or it wasn't yesterday, I'm not quite sure, but he said that the only person who knows everything about yourself is you. What you've been through, the struggles you've done, the struggles you've overcome, the things that you've done, the silent battles that you continuously fight every day. You only know yourself the best, so you only know what's the best solution for you in every scenario. You just need something or someone or a sign to tell you that that's the right thing. Go for it. Do it. And I feel like that's the instinct that that's within ourselves is telling us, or that consciousness rather. I'd like I really like how they phrased it in one of these seminars, or these talks, or these sessions that we had in like this SFC, or Signals for Christ. Is that one of the brothers, or the speakers, put it in a way where he says that whenever you're doing something and your consciousness is telling you that wait, this is not right, or whenever you're in a decision making process and you have to make this crucial decision, and you're swaying towards one decision, but in your gut you know that it's not the right one to make for you, or it's not the right one to make, period. that consciousness is telling you to go the other route. That's in and of itself God telling you that, hey, that's the wrong direction. You gotta go this way. And I feel like that's really something to think about every now and then, because or to act upon every now and then, after, of course, carefully contemplating. But you know, at the end of the day, it's like we have these regrets, we have these moments where we linger on the past mistakes, past decisions so much, is because we always went with the logical, the quote unquote logical decision, instead of going with our gut. Sometimes, yes, it's good to make logical decisions, especially when it comes to finances or earthly, manners such as relationships and so on. But sometimes you gotta let your gut take the handle, or you know, your gut take the steering wheel and so on every now and then, because sometimes that thing is actually what's the right thing to do. I mean, why else would you feel this overly painful sensation in your gut when you make a decision? Because it's telling you that wasn't the right thing to do at the time. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it might not be the right choice in hindsight, or it might not be the right choice at that moment, but it might be one that can benefit you long term, or it might be one that can benefit you right now at the situation that you are. It's not that in and of itself, even in moments of doubt and you know confusion, you have all the answers. Whether you like to admit it or not, whether I like to admit it or not, we're not completely clueless. We're not completely helpless. We know all the answers. And this is an affirmation. This is an affirmative, saying for me to you, to the person who's watching this right now, that, you know, contemplate about it, think about it. But at the end of the day, if it still feels like, after that deep contemplation and meditation and practical thinking, you still feel like your gut is telling you to go with a certain thing, go with it. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's got to have regrets, right? You can't limit that, or you can't eliminate that. So make regrets that you can live with, make choices that you can live with, make choices that will make you happier. Because at the end of the day, that's all we long for: being happier, being healthier, being able to make choices that will allow us to live life, not just exist, but truly live it. Right? That's all for this talk, guys. I hope you took something away from this. Now I rambled on too much, but yeah, have a very good day. See ya.